Right? But you see what happened to Peter is that it's not that he was brilliant enough, but bright enough. So when he came in 2C, and came like first or second, third in 2C, T3, he better skip to 4C. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So he skip on so from 4C now, he would normally go to 5C and then 5A. He better skip to 5A. And he passed senior Cambridge, and then from then now go to high schools. In high school they had to take the 2 years. Right? So some of the boys actually were in school, after the time had passed for them to leave. Because normally it's 18. Yeah. Some of the guys were there. So some of them who had played the sports earlier couldn't play, and those they were actually in school because they were too old. You understand? But that is the type of thing that Bishop did. He appreciated the value of education. He's a man who spoke Latin and spoke Greek. Right? And speak French. And taught those subjects. And then teach from 2nd form to 6th form. You understand? And what happened is that his influence was so strong, right, on all the teachers, that all of them wanted to emulate him. Understand? And Bishop Douglas Forrest, who is one of the greatest educators, one of the greatest pedagogues in the world, and one of the greatest human beings, learned at his feet, because Douglas Forrest had come there when he left Monroe at 19. In 1926. He came. I think it's 25 or 26. He came. Understand? And you see, by this time, and during those years we produced Rhodes Scholars, Murad, and the first scholarship winner was 1934, Chester Burgess, who won the £200 scholarship. That was the first scholarship we ever had. Right? And all of those were under the influence and guidance of Bishop Gibson. And he had to encounter, I want to tell you a story, that Eli Matalan, told at the Old Boys dinner in New York when he was honored. He said that he couldn't afford, his father couldn't afford to send him to JC, where his other brothers had gone, Maya and
Right.
So his father, he was living in Greytown at the time, because his father has lost his money during the Depression of the 30s. And he said that his father took him to Mr. Gibson, and father asked if he'd take it. He said, sure. Mr. Gibson said, sure. He said, sir, I want to tell you that I won't be able to pay you all of the school fees one time. And he said that Bishop replied, that's okay. That's okay, Mr. Matalan. That is why KC was formed as a school for poor children. This is A.D. Matalan. A.D. never stopped supporting and loving Kingston College. He was chairman of the board. He sent his son Paul to KC, and anything KC wanted, A.D. Matalan was there. I must tell you also about Bishop that the greatest benefactor of KC was a Woodman's boy by the name of Hannah, right? R.H. Hannah. He was the wealthiest merchant in Jamaica and the biggest landowner of commercial property. Eddie Hannah owned the whole of King Street, Harvard Street and Port Royal. He started a lot of the other Syrians who came here. He went to Woolmer's And he couldn't tell Bishop Gibson, no. He was chairman of the board on one occasion. Right? He very often made substantial contributions to the school. There's a house named after him, Hannah House. And also to students individually, anonymously. See? Right? And I remember Bishop Gibson talking, right, about, and we need to have a classroom. I have to go and see Mr. Hannah. I wouldn't go down there unannounced. Hannah not telling him busy. Couldn't tell him no. Couldn't tell him no. Right? Whatever, Bishop, that was the authoritative and the respect that he really commanded. Of course, a lot of research has been done about his early life and so on, and you can get that information in the book. But my experience is that with him is an awesome, a towering man. The things that he did at KC, you think it was so many, it was a ferment of productive activity. You understand? The choir, the KC choir. Right? And then we had, I think Mr. Davis, there's an Englishman who came as a choir master. It was, the choir started in the 50s sometimes, and became the internationally renowned choir. I mean, the choir, and the choir from England came and performed, and there were thousands in a rainy day, almost stormy day, that came out to a cathedral to hear them. All of that. So as I say, some of our detractors who put a great deal of emphasis on academics, that's one truth, yeah, would talk about KC being a sports school. That is the biggest misconception. It's the biggest misconception that you can find. In fact, one of the brightest boys at KC, that producer say, right, and this is when it could be on my ears, but there's a boy by the name of Mark Chin, who came from China, Hong Kong. And when he wanted to go to Georgia, they wouldn't allow him in Georgia because he couldn't speak English. And then when he came to Cape, he couldn't speak English, he went to Jamaica Scholarship. 1992. Yeah. And not to mention before that, of course, the people like Carlos Escoffrey. It's a story that I always tell. Because he's an example, in my view, of the vision that Bishop Gibson had. Because Carlos Escoffrey, whose brother is Ian Gibson, Carlos Escoffrey is from Ladley, right? Down by the ghetto KC. It's a spoiler's corner or something. What do you call it?
Spoiler's corner.
Eh?
Spoiler's corner.
Go on.
And Carlos, right? They introduced at the year that Carlos was in 4th form. They introduced at school, this is later on, this is 70, 71. They introduced where you could take 4 or 5 subjects in 4th form, right? And Carlos took like 4, what the maximum you could take, and got 4 distinctions. Right? Dr. Good, I think, was in that class too, who is a leading heart specialist and head of the Heart Institute in Miami, because my wife is a patient of his. Right? But you would have said he wanted to come back to KC and teach and become headmaster and all like that. And he said he was so poor. He was so poor. Sometimes very often he went to school without much money. Bishop Taylor said that too at the lecture. Right. Yeah, but Carlos Escoffrey. And Carlos went into 5th form and took 7 subjects and got 7 ones. And in 1 year took A level and won the Centennial Scholarship. And part of that time he was in hospital doing corrective surgery for his legs because he had bad bow legs. Right? He's professor of pathology at the university. The head of the pathology department is Barry Hanchard, Dr. Barry Hanchard, who was also at KC in the 50s, a couple years younger than me, who was head boy at like 16 and won some scholarship. It was so bad. When he got some scholarship when he was about 16 or 17. He didn't even bother to take the A level, or I'm taking 1 year A level. Could have taken it over with the Jamaica scholarship. Didn't bother. Barry Hanchard is also right at the University of Pathology, right? And that is it because so many of these youngsters who have excelled come from the humblest origins, come from circles of extreme poverty, right? And because of the type of discipline at Kingston College, because of the focus on the development of the character and development of the talent, they have been able to rise from the swamp and the quagmire of poverty and achieve much, right? There are a lot of students, a lot of the professionals at university who are in charge of departments and so on. I can't see old boys. I lost them, you know? Love them. So, as I said, it was, for me, you know, a time of true achievement and excellence.
Could you talk a little bit about Bishop Gibson's attitude towards sports in the school and how during his time he had to develop a competitive spirit in the boys?
No, but he believed in it, you know. But exactly, I can tell you something. Bishop Gibson, you know, was it something else, you know? Bishop Gibson, I'm told this story about 3 weeks ago. Because in 1952, right, we had gotten beaten in the Oliver Shield, right, by Monroe, 2-0, and then the replay at Savannah Park. And there's a boy by the name of Buddy Alexander. His brother went to KC also. 2 brothers. One played in the Manning Cup team of 55. Right, pal. The elder brother was a High Court judge, right, who played with Collie Smith and Bull Morris and Roy McLean, another legend at KC. But he played in that match and he did score a goal. He was left-footed. And I am told, well, 3 days ago, we're at a funeral, KC was there. And I'm told that it was Bishop Gibson who saw him, right, kicking, you know, out there with his left foot, and said, Alexander will be playing outside left in the next match. And that is how he came on the team. Bishop would go upstairs and see him kicking the football, right? And says, so Goldsmith is that centre forward. Goldsmith gets him in front of the goal and kick the ball all over the place.